from Strike King. Okay, let's take a trip over to the 13 Fishing booth. Now, 13 Fishing, the booth, everything. Let's start this off with a bang. The big deal over at 13 this year was the new Gerald Swindle signature rod and reels. The Inception G2 is the reel, and they have the Meta rods, both designed by Gerald Swindle. Now, the cool part about this is that Gerald doesn't really put his name on like almost anything. The dude is as real as they come. Remember when it was like the Bassmaster Classic and he's up on stage in the arena talking about how, he was throwing a jackhammer chatterbait and he was saying, look, y'all, I can't do a Gerald Swindle impression, but he's like, look, y'all, I pay $16 a piece for these just like you guys do. That's G-Man. That's Gerald. That's the guy that we all know and love, which is why when he comes out with something like a signature series line of rods or reels, it's something that the fishing world pays attention to. So again, I can talk about it, or we can listen to Gerald himself tell us about these new rods and reels and what all went into them. So I can promise you, it's always more fun to talk to Gerald Swindle than it is to me. Always. So here is our conversation with G-Man on his brand new signature reels. All right, folks, we are here with G-Man himself, Gerald Swindle, to talk about the new 13 fishing reel he's got out, signature series of the Inception. Gerald, what you got going on with this reel?
Man, I got the new Inception. It's called the G2. It's the Generation 2. I took the regular Inception and went to Matt, and I said, let's beef this up. Let's change a few of the bearings. Let's add some better teeth on there. And it was already pretty daggum indestructible. I added a bigger spool for cranking. I had them drill it out, so when you're making those long casts on our 5, we have the 5:6-to-1 ratio. Super smooth, but we put a bigger, longer handle and a deeper spool, so you got more line pickup. I did a 7:3-to-1 gear ratio, and I did a 6:6-to-1. That's the styles that I like best. And then we started working on the rods, the Meta series, and we pretty much created every action you need to fish. And I would tell anybody who's listening to Tackle Talk, if you get a chance and you want to support me and try one of these, I can promise you, I spent 2 years. There's not another angler on this floor that's telling you the truth that they said they've took 2 years to spool up thousands of rods and broke them, went through them, broke them. I have tested and tested, so I know when these were released, you the customer, for $150, I put my heart and soul in it. The reel's $150, the rod's $150, and I think you can compete at the highest level, and I think I've proved that. I just broke the century belt on one, so for $300 I caught 102.5 pounds. I think we proved it. So it was one of the only rod and reels deals I've ever worked on where we always said customer first, and that's never done in this industry.
And you build it on a platform that's already been proven and tested. That Inception, those old silver Inceptions, you could run over with your truck. So I know it's going to be good.
I told Matt, I said, if you had to put the old Inception like in hot rod, old muscle cars, it's like the old 69 Camaro. Yeah. It's tried, true, and tested. And I wanted to start working off that frame and make it better. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, make it better? And I'm like, let's make it better. Let's add a little bit to it. Let's beef it up here. And we actually put a drag system in here. So you hear me when the drag's turning, it's more like a spinning reel. So this is to help younger anglers when they get into the sport to know how your drag's set. So if you don't hear that, or you can hear that, it's comforting. So if you got a fish on and you feel him pulling and you don't hear that drag stripping, you know to reach for it.
And I think it's cool that you went lower gear ratios too. A lot of times you walk around a show like this, everybody's going faster. It's like you're neglecting those days where you have to deep crank, and you have a spool for that now.
Well, and I was talking to Kyle Welcher. We've had many, many great debates, and I love Kyle Welcher like a son. And he's a guy that wants an 8-to-1, a 9-to-1, a 10-to-1. And I always go back and I said, you take a hot rod carb with 1,000 horsepower and you gear it 273, take it to the drag strip, you can't outrun time. But you take that same car and gear at 411 and you can pull a freight train down there and you're quick. I said, so everybody, what I've always been frustrated with is a lot of YouTubers created the sensation that faster is stronger. And it's not. You have a wide receiver and then you have damn Derrick Henry, okay? And people get that concept. Well, it's fast, it's not stronger. And when it comes to low-end reels, that's where you generate power and torque. So even flipping, if you can't turn the handle, man, you can't get him in. Right. So that first 2 turns of the handle, like, well, I'm picking up more line than you. Not if you're not turning the handle. So Kyle's like, well, I want to get my bait in. And this was a great debate we had here. He said, well, I can get my bait in and make more casts. I said, would you rather make more casts or catch more fish? And it's just, it was a fad. People don't understand that high-speed reels was a fad, and can't nobody in here tell you truly why they're doing it. The concept is, well, I can make more casts. Bro, you're going to have to eat your Wheaties and smoke you some crack if you're going to make more than me. And I mean, and it's the quality of the cast, not how many. Right. So I think, and I asked Kyle, I said, how many times you ever seen them fish just blow up right at your bait, right at the bait? He said, all the time. I said, you ever catch them? He said, no. I said, I do. I know why? Because I accidentally slowed myself down. So he said, well, I said, I'm going for luck, baby. I'm not that good. I'm going for luck. So if you get a chance, you'll kind of see where we went with that on having a controlled cranking reel with a bigger handle. channel. You can't wind a DT20 fast enough on a 6.3-1 or 7. You can, but you're going to wear yourself out. That 5.6 is a smooth flow, so give it a shot. I promise you it's going to be a little different, but it was set there for a reason. This was not just some company come to me and said, hey, let's put your name on there and sell some rods. Guys, I could have done that 20 years ago. I wanted to be a part of a process. I wanted to sit down with you, Andrew, and say, Andrew, here's how I fish a chatterbait. This is what I've learned, and I wanted to pass that down. Getting a check ain't all that's in life. It's good, but money don't buy happiness.
So there you have it. $150 reels. Honestly, if I had $150 to spend on a cranking reel, on anything on that show floor, I would buy that 5-to-1 Inception G2 for tossing around like DTs or XDs without spending $200 to $300 on a reel. That Inception felt great. It felt bulletproof, just like those old silver Inceptions. It looked a lot cleaner, obviously. You know, the black, everything, they gave it, I guess, a little bit of a dress up, and it looks great. But it is a very true cranking reel with a bigger handle, better gearing, and that drag system will actually be really nice for cranking. The click of that drag on a deep cranking fish will be super nice, especially for folks that are a little bit newer to deep cranking than have, I guess, kind of like the slipping feeling of a silent drag. So the Signature Series from Gerald Swindle, the Meta Series rods, and the Inception G2 Series reels from 13 Fishing, both $150 each, and should be available this fall. Otherwise, from 13, we had some new spinning reels.